folks, what's happening? AC Mike Show podcast, episode number 6. At 6 all the time. My man, Jason Klotz. Jason, what's happening, bro?
Thanks for having me.
Love having you here, Skate AC, all kinds. We're going to get into all that. But Jason, first of all, man, you know, young guy. I keep saying young guy. I mean, I know it's been a few years now since we get, and you are. But what you've done in the city of Atlantic City and now moving outwards is amazing. And we talked about it, you know, Pakistani, African-American, white, Spanish, blah, 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 blah. Roller skating, no. Skateboarding, that's where it's at. Outdoors, getting health and wellness. But before we get into that, tell some folks about you, my man.
Man, my family's lived on this island since the 30s. My dad was a surfer and really got me on a skateboard at a young age. He was pretty big in the surf world in the 60s and 70s, was sponsored in magazines. And so I just grew up in that culture of surfing and skateboarding and fell in love with it around 11 years old. Somebody brought, another surfer friend of mine brought over a trick board that had the nose and the tail. I was riding longboards at the time. He did a nose stall on the curb in front of my house, and it just blew my mind. And then once I started watching the videos in the magazines and realized all the things you could do with a skateboard, and I was into soccer at the time, so seeing that skateboarders had their own fashion sense, their own style, their own maneuvers, it had a lot more personality than traditional sports. And pretty quickly after that, I was like, Pops, sorry, man, I'm quitting the soccer team. I'm going all in on this skateboarding, and it's just been a love affair ever since. I really never stopped. I'm 38 now, so it's about 28 years of riding a skateboard almost every day.
Love it. So, and again, just as you talk, things pop into my head.
Yeah.
So you're talking team sports and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, you know, you go individual because basically, you know, skateboarding is on your own. But then you've also brought it out to the masses. We're going to talk about that down the road. So I love that. I'm just trying to put all this together. And then, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, Jason. I mean, that's cool with Pops, you know, with the Klotz name, man. I mean, talk about that a little bit. I mean, we love our hoops. We love, you know, our generals. We love our trotters and stuff like that. Take us through, man. Take us back.
Sure. So my grandfather is Red Klotz, who was one of the, he was a Harlem Globetrotter Hall of Famer. He owned the Washington Generals. He was a player and coach. He was on the first NBA championship team, the Bullets back in the day, Baltimore Bullets. And he was just so passionate about basketball. He helped introduce basketball to the masses in the world and traveled around the world with the Trotters, showing people. They would bring their own courts. They would bring their own balls. People didn't even know what basketball was back then. And now you have all these countries where he introduced the sport to, bringing players to the NBA and to the Olympics. And we're just, you know, just super grateful that he was a part of the family. We miss him all the time, and he was a big inspiration to me. And that was my man.
It's funny you mentioned that, and you would think that I would have thought that, though. But again, it just kind of like passed right over me. You know, watching as a kid, of course, you know, and going to the Spectrum and here at Boardwalk Hall, the convention center back in the day, dating myself, now Boardwalk Hall, seeing that, of course, right? I mean, worldwide. People had no idea. I didn't put that together like that.
They made
Jason.
the NBA popular. The NBA was struggling, and they started playing the Globetrotters, if you look into the history, and that's what made the ratings of the NBA finally shoot up. And so the Globetrotters were the original ambassadors for the sport of basketball across the world.
That's it, man. Yeah. And Grandpa was he was
the guy,
iconic dude that pushed it out there.
And he taught a good life lesson because he owned the Generals. He lost every game, right? And so it really was like a funny shtick that, you know, he always was really trying to win, but they were allowed to do their little, you know, finagling of the ball and the rules a little bit on the Globetrotters. But he always, you know, taught the lesson that failure's part of life and that you can still fail so much and win at life. And he sent all his grandchildren to college and, you know, passed away in his mansion on the beach and just lived a life that is far from being a loser, even though he was deemed the world's biggest loser because he lost more games than anybody else. So
that's a great analogy. And again,
that's it, man.
Any successful person, Jason, and I know you know this, you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
big, small, whatever, the magnitude of the business or whatnot, has failed probably much more times than they've succeeded. So
100%.
that's awesome. So you hit me off with two
There
things.
you
Again,
go, man.
Worldwide with basketball, because that was key. Again, and look at the league now, man. I mean, I can't even pronounce the names, bro.
That's it, bro. These are some of the places where he introduced it, and he always just taught a loss is just a lesson, and a lesson turns into a blessing.
Love it. Love it. So there you go, folks. Make sure you write that one down, because I'm going to jot that down when I get it. So, and now let's move on to you, man. Again, we talked about it at the top, skateboarding. One of the things that we did, Mullica Township, growing up out there in the west end of the county a little bit. But then the old man said, you got to put that away. You got to wrestle. You got to play football. You got to bust your ass. Mike and I always was. It was always a cast or something on.
Yeah.
But again, it was something that you were able to do. I mean, growing up in a house with 8 brothers and sisters and some cousins here and there, it wasn't always affordable to go grab everything, but there was always a skateboard around or some form of a skateboard.
Roller skates. I support all that stuff, whether it's roller skates, scootering, bicycling. I always explain to the city councils and the governments that the difference between skate parks and a basketball court or a baseball field is like, those are all sports with rules and games. And you have to make the team, you have to have a coach, you have to have players, you have to have rules. And skateboarding is just freedom, is play. So it's games versus play. And like kids, a lot of them, they have teachers, they have parents, they have principals. They're sick of authority. So they love going to just play. Freedom, no rules. They don't got to beat somebody. They don't got to make the team. They don't need nothing but their board and the scooter or whatever it is. And then they're in a community with their friends, having fun in the sun, playing freedom. That's what it represents to me. And
love it.
That's what I'm all about.
And you touched on that with council and trying to convince people, I guess, and show and the stigma, right? Because again, I want to get into that with you. I know we've talked about it before, because there's a big stigma. They're like, what are these kids, these punk kids, what are they doing?
Criminals.
Criminals, right? Yeah. And to your point, hey man, this is a space for you just to get out and have fun and get the kids out. But talk about that stigma that you've been working on, and I think you've gotten some head ground.
Atlantic City. Shout out to Mayor Marty Smalls and their whole administration. They are like so not looking at us like that. They look at us like we're mentors, we're community members, we are nonprofits. They really respect the skateboarding community. But like, for example, I'm trying to build this park in Egg Harbor City, and the reason we're doing that is because there was an illegal skate park that was built there for over 10 years called Meg's, and it was demolished last summer. And all those kids and that whole community lost their skate park. Well, as you can imagine, an abandoned property with graffiti all over it, illegal skateboard ramps out in the cut in the woods, had some trash. Probably people out here and there would have a beer, smoke some weed. The government looked at it like, this is like Lord of the Flies zone over here. These are criminals over here. They built this illegally. We can't get rid of them. We tear it down. They keep building. So there was definitely a little stigma around us, and I had to really, really work that with them and make them see, no, listen, how your small town is perceiving skateboarders is not how the world perceives skateboarders anymore. Around the world, we're Olympians, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, business owners, we're mentors, instructors, community members, leaders. We're trying to keep kids off the street, keep kids focused. There's tons of studies that have proven if you give kids a place to go, a community to do it with, and something to do, it prevents them from doing crime, right? Because if you think about like gang culture, they have a place to sell their drugs and be gang members, a community to do it with, and a thing to do, right? So it's like the place, the community, and the activity is what helps to prevent all the bad stuff. And we see it, here in Atlantic City, the amount of kids that are obsessed with skateboarding that who knows what they would have did because they didn't fit into the regular box of football player, basketball player, baseball player, and they don't like rules and authority, but they like the community, they like working with us, and so it's been just a blessing, man.
And to your point too, the old man, God bless us, up in heaven, The skateboard always came out of the closet, though. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah.
With your man. But the thing is, too, again, you again bringing that out, and again, I say stigma and just removing that, not just here in Atlantic City, but throughout. And it's really been a lot of work. And again, I want to pop in here real quick too. Sovereign Avenue, out there in the inlet as well, man. Again, been here full time about 20 years in Atlantic City, and I would walk out there, Sovereign, Polito Field, and all that. What's that? And I was like, what's going on out here? Again, cool spots, cool spaces. But when I see it now, and I mentioned it to you prior to us sitting down right today on the red couch, it's like one of those spots, even for me. Not that I'm skateboarding that much anymore, but I'm in there doing my little push-ups, my pull-ups. It's an activity, and it's a spot that not just young, but then anybody can appreciate. And then when I go by there, Jason, and again, I mention this all the time, and I think I said it already, whatever ethnicity you could, and this is Atlantic City, and I'm sure in other areas as well, whatever ethnicity you can think of has a skateboarder, and they're out there in that park.
Yeah, I mean, skateboarding is that type of sport where it's just for everybody. And, it's really one of my favorite parts about the skateboard culture that I even stress to some of the local government organizations is if you think about typical sports, right? Like we know how this island is a little bit segregated, unfortunately, right? Like this uptown is a certain demographic, down beach is a certain demographic. If you have basketball teams for each side of the island and they play each other, it looks like white versus black.
Right.
But if they come together to skateboard together, it looks like Martin Luther King's dream, you know? And so to me, it's just such a good facilitator of that community and diversity that's just, who cares what your background is or where your family's from? What matters is we're all in the sun, having fun together, brothers and sisters under God. And that's it. To me,
I love it. I see the shirt too. That's it. That's where we're at. I'm right here myself too. I get it. And that's what it's all about. It's getting everybody together and talking again. And we'll get into some of the other projects you got on in the advent, of the day in which we live, 2026, and these and that sort. A lot of kids. I mean, we're saying, and it's not just kids; it's adults as well. Yeah. We're all caught up in this and that,
man.
And we're not interacting. And I see it, man. And I've had to pull myself out of it myself because I like to interact with people. Again, what we're doing. This is what this brings. Also, talk about that too as well. Because that's a missed
So that's another point that I always bring up to anybody that I'm trying to persuade and advocate for on the skateboarding activity community is that this younger generation and all generations right now, more than ever, are suffering from loneliness, suicide, depression, anxiety. And a lot of it comes from this addiction to the phone, because even though we're socially connected through social networks, we're comparing each other. We have this short-term attention span. People are bullying each other just to get outrage and clicks and likes. And so it's creating a toxic environment that actually is making people more overly anxious and just feeling bugged out, And so to me, this is all about getting people off the devices, into the sun, into the community, and into real life. That's how I grew up. Before the smartphones came out, I was a skateboarder, obviously. And so for me, the old school phones were you remember them, they were big, man. So my favorite thing to do was leave that thing at the house and go ride my skateboard all around Philadelphia and Atlantic City without that thing on me and just be in the world, talking to people, hanging out. And I'm trying to, help these younger kids and just remind the older people, hey, we don't always need that little computer on our hands and in our body all the time.
Right. It's like an appendage.
That's it, man.
You left it, you go crazy going by. And so important, though, again, communication, talking to people. Now the activity part of it, again, bringing it to Atlantic City, bringing it to Egg Harbor City, bringing it to Pleasantville. Listen, bro, not the easiest thing to do to navigating through. And again, I give you a lot of credit, and I mentioned this to you before. A lot of young guys, me as a young guy, I didn't get it neither. I wasn't going to those type of meetings and whatnot and advocating for what I was into. And I was kind of into sports or whatnot, just getting out and whatnot. You being able to take that by the bull, because, bro, I know there had to be a lot of, it
doesn't stop. It's every day.
Right.
It's to this day.
Right.
I mean, skateboarding taught me a lot being a young skater, everywhere we went, we got kicked out. I've been in handcuffs, thrown in cop cars, had my boards taken to courtrooms, taken to jail cells, all for riding a skateboard and doing what is now an Olympic sport, right? But what it taught me was how to overcome adversity, because I still became a pro skater. I still was able to get sponsorships. I still was able to be on teams that I dreamed of being on, even though I was constantly dealing with that. So what it taught me is that when you got something you're passionate about that you want to see manifest, and you know that it's right with God and you're not doing anything that's wrong or evil, there's powers that be outside of this realm that will help you get there. And so I always kept that in mind whenever I was advocating for these parks, especially in a place like Atlantic City that is a town controlled by vices, right? Everything's kind of just on a lower frequency in regards to gambling, alcoholism. There's a lot of drugs and prostitution. I said, no, we have to have safe places for the kids, because I was sick of seeing guys that I grew up with go down the wrong path because we didn't have anywhere to go growing up. So for me, it's like, you know what? I'm going to go into City Hall and Sovereign Avenue. That park started because I quit drinking alcohol when I was about 25 or 26. And I had extra money in my pocket, and I had extra energy and extra time.
That shows up in your
and
pocket.
I said, I'm not wasted anymore. I'm not wasting time. I'm not wasting money. What am I going to do with all this? Oh, let me build some ledges at Sovereign Avenue, because we already have a community and a crew, and the kids need something to do. I need something to do. And I started building illegally there. And then it got real big. And then eventually the government caught wind of it. And then in the middle of the night one night when Don Guardian was mayor, it just magically all got thrown into a dumpster. And he didn't know how it ended up there and was blaming Chris Christie. And Chris Christie's like, I don't care about some ledges in Atlantic City. I didn't do it. And then Frank Gillum came along and said, if I win mayor, I'm going to support Jay Klotz and Skate AC. And he won. And then we actually made it a permanent structure. And the word sovereign biblically shows up all the time as God's plan. So to me, it was just like all perfect alignment. The timing was right. It was during an election season. And from that initial little like asking for forgiveness, not permission, we've spawned an entire movement by the grace of God. So I'm just grateful, man.
Awesome. And then just getting out there. So we go from Sovereign to the Inlet. Talk about that part just recently. I would say about a year, maybe a little less than a year ago.
Yeah, so I really noticed from Sovereign Avenue being there for 6-7 years that kids were coming down from uptown and they were getting in trouble with their parents, little guys. They were, there's more, if you look at the island from a bird's eye view, there's more land uptown. And so there's high rises, and I knew there's more kids over there than down here. But a lot of those kids weren't able to come here because it was too far. So I went to Kashawn and Mike Griff, and then they went to Marty, and the whole argument, it wasn't even an argument, the conversation was, hey, we got this nice thing popping down beach, but the kids uptown aren't able to get it, and they're getting in trouble when they're coming down here. And they said to me, Jay, whatever y'all got down beach, we need uptown. We need our kids uptown to have this space. And then we started working. Mike Griff had a capstone project for Rutgers University that, the government was sending him to, and that was his project. And we worked hand in hand designing it, and just, I raised the first like 25 grand, and then the government came through in a major way and said, look, you guys pay for it and we're going to reimburse you for the remaining funds. And it was a $90,000 project. And so from the GoFundMe video launching in September of 2024, by August of 2025, we had the park done, built, ribbon cut in 11 months.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, God is good, man.
Action, right?
Yeah,
All
and
starts
thank
with
God we
meetings
had
and
Marty and them in there too. They were very supportive of the
very,
youth.
very recreation and
Very
youth
much.
and seniors, definitely 100%.
Yeah.
So again, seeing it, hanging out, watching it come to fruition. Not sure about it neither. When I heard about it, then we met. We were cool, and I got to talk to you a little bit on the radio show and just hang out a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, always an advocate for activity.
Yes.
Kids, adults. Again, I say the same thing here. It's just not kids. Moving it off the island though now. So again, Egg Harbor City as a place where I grew up, went to St. Nick's out that way, grew up in Mullica Township. just it's something, again, good people out there.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of forgotten about it as well a little bit.
Agreed.
Talk about that project a little bit, and then we'll bounce up to Peeville.
Yeah, so as I said, I mean, there was this whole scene there. I'd been going to that property for
Where
decades.
exactly is it again?
It was off the White Horse Pike. It was called Meg's, right?
Okay.
And it was this abandoned warehouses. We used to skate in the warehouses back in the day. Like literally 20 years I've been going out there. And then around, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago, these guys started building out there. Shout outs to Randy and Jeremy. They were building ramps. They built a whole skate park. They must have spent $20,000 at least. Hundreds of man hours, built this whole really nice park. It was on Thrasher magazine and some of the biggest platforms in the world for skateboarding, getting international coverage, but it was illegal. And the city, there's not everybody's up to speed with skateboarding and skateboard culture, and skateboarders were young, kind of like freedom-oriented kids. So sometimes we don't fit in those typical boxes that governments like people to be in. So it was like, I think, a lot for them. And we're, this has been taking a little bit longer because we've been just working through some of that stuff and just helping them understand who we really are and what we really will bring to the table once this thing is there. But I had a meeting with the mayor like 2 weeks ago. She was really supportive, really on board, Miss Patty.
Yep.
And
I know you, girl.
Yeah, she's super cool.
Good
and
people.
She's been really supportive, and we're just happy that everybody's really understanding that what they experienced with the illegal park is not what's going to manifest once we're given an actual place to go, right? If you give kids somewhere safe to go where they can interact with the community and be themselves, you're no longer perceiving them as criminals, because now they're not feeling like they're repressed. They're feeling like they're supported. And that's a big deal, man. Kids just we all as humans just want to be validated and encouraged. And validation is why social media is so big, right? Everybody wants to seek that. They want to feel like they matter. So giving these young people a space to congregate is so important. Like, it drives me nuts. Grew up in Margate, seeing that there's this whole issue where all the kids hang out at Wawa, and then they get, Club Wawa. It's like this whole thing, and all the adults are like, no, for sure.
Friends.
Even the adults, I drive Uber and Lyft at nights, and the adults, everybody's always like, what the hell is with these kids in Wawa? But 25 years ago, when I was a teenager in Margate, we filled up a bank parking lot with ramps. And they were like, what the hell are all these kids doing in the bank parking lot? And the thing is, if you don't give them somewhere to go, they're going to go somewhere. I mean, think about how pathetic it is to hang out in a Wawa parking lot. You think they really want to be there?
No.
We need to build them a skate park down there. Right. And I'm talking to Heritage and those guys and hopefully advocating for something like that if they'll let us. But, wherever it is, we really want to serve communities that are a bit more underserved and struggle to have funds and resources for this stuff. That's a big part of my mission, because, it's just important when there's places that are dealing with poverty and crime and things, to make sure that there's good outlets for kids to look at and go, I want to be a pro skater. I want to be a graphic designer and design skateboards, or a fashion designer and design the skateboard clothing. And there's so many, videography, photography. It's all tied into the sport and culture of skateboarding.
The action itself, there's so much other that goes
so
into
much,
it, where they can have a career and some time to learn something. And to your point, when you were saying that, again, two of the things that I say, as a 61-year-old guy, and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and whatnot, I want my kids to go somewhere. I want them to get off this.
That's what
but
I'm
I
saying.
also want them to be somewhere where I know they're going to be, like when we used to grow up playing basketball or doing whatever.
That's it.
Safe. And again, I advocate for what you're doing. And again, I know Egg Harbor City, Miss Jampetti and that crew out there, they get it. They really get it.
They're on board now with it. They're on board. Like I said, just having that place the way it was kind of just created a wrong impression, because it just looked a little crazy since it was abandoned buildings, and but they get it now. They really get it.
And now let's go up to, a little bit up to Peeville. What's going on
so
in
this is
Pleasantville?
actually like breaking news. I yesterday met with the mayor of Pleasantville. We looked at some properties, and she told me she's fully on board with getting a skate park out there. So we're working on trying to fundraise for that and make sure that Pleasantville also has a top-of-the-line skateboard park. And, this is really exciting for me, being that we're building such a strong community in all of South Jersey, which started in Atlantic City. But now once you have a park in Pleasantville, you have a park in Egg Harbor City. There's obviously one in Ocean City. They got a little something in Brigantine. You're going to have all these skateboarders in all these neighborhoods, and they're all going to become friends, and their families are going to become friends, and it's just going to make us tighter and tighter. Because I think a lot of times human beings are tribal, right? So it's like, especially regular sports make us tribal too, I think, in a lot of ways. And what happens is we're so localized that we're like, oh, Pleasantville versus Atlantic City, or Margate versus whatever, Egg Harbor Township. And that's my favorite part of this sport, is it just brings everybody together. Because at the end of the day, if you just moved, if somebody's from Pleasantville and I'm from Atlantic City and we both moved to Las Vegas, we're from AC. We're from Jersey. Like, we're one. We're not these little neighborhoods that are battling. People are going to look at us, oh, y'all from the same place. You guys are like, y'all are one. And so that's what we all got to remember down here in South Jersey. We're all South Jersey. We're all family. We need to create more bridges, less division.
Love it. And then once you get to Egg Harbor City, we got to bounce to Hamilton. Got to go down a little bit. That's the goal,
man. I want to go Absecon, Hamilton, Northfield. Like, it just keeps going, man. And, and then we're also going Hollywood, Florida. Shout outs to Rohan Marley, Bob Marley's son. By the grace of God, I got to meet him, and he heard the mission. I said, look, it started Skate AC, but it's all communities. And he said, yo, I have to join this. I've been wanting to build skate parks for 20-something years. And he was on the University of Miami, and 20 years ago, he filmed an interview with ESPN in Jamaica where he's talking about how he wants to build skate parks all over the world. And he showed me the interview. I said, I can't believe that his booth was across from my booth at a business convention. And it was like just divinely ordained. And now, like, we're best of friends. We have meetings every week. He's back in everything we do, and we already got permission from the mayor of Hollywood, Florida. We've got a site. We've got a design. We're going to be launching that fundraiser soon. And I'm going to be going down to Miami to do some big fundraisers with the Marleys.
You're going to have to give me a little information.
Come on, man. Come on down.
Now, is he the Marley that played for the U too? There was one that played for the U.
Yeah, he played for University of Miami. He was on there with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Ray Lewis.
I do recall.
And he also has 4 or 5 children with Miss Lauryn Hill, the legendary from the Fugees, who was just here in Atlantic City. And their children are some of the top reggae artists in the world now, Zion Marley and YG Marley. And they just performed on Atlantic City Beach like a couple weeks ago for the BRT Festival. Yep.
That's awesome, bro. So we'll get into a little bit about that. But here now, Skate AC.
Yeah.
Tell folks, again, and we'll be able to do, and we'll put some stuff up
for sure,
how they can get involved, bro.
Sure.
I mean, whether it's websites, donations, or
1,000%.
Just come out and check it out.
That's it. So, we do, obviously you go to skateac.org. Then there's Skate AC on Instagram. That's one of our main news sources, blogs, how we get our information out there. Then you also have, on skateac.org, we have a fundraiser right now to just help us with the administrative fees, to help us with the organization. Obviously, that's the lifeblood, right? We have an office now. I quit my full-time job.
What?
I quit my full-time job, man, because I just God put it on my heart that I needed to do this. I'll get into this real briefly, but basically this is it for me now, man. Like, I feel like the only reason I'm alive is to build these types of safe spaces. And the only reason I went through all that struggle as a kid was so I could feel what these kids need out here. And that's my mission in life, is just to give God's children as many platforms and safe places and programs and mentors as possible while I'm here on limited time. Last year, after we built the Uptown Park, I had to take a drive with a friend to go on a business meeting, and I don't let anybody else drive me, and I wasn't too sure how good a driver this guy was, and his girlfriend kind of gave me a little heads up that he was a little Speedy Gonzalez on the wheel, right? So I got on my knees and prayed to God, and specifically prayed to Jesus for the first time in my life before we got in this ride, and we ended up getting cut off on the highway, man. And he went into the fast lane, and we got smashed by another car going 85, 90 miles an hour. And if we were a skateboard, we did a backside kickflip. We rolled all the way over and did a 180. And I thought I was going to die. As soon as the car started rolling, I was like, this is it. And by the grace of God, man, we landed on all 4 wheels. Everything was smashed. We couldn't see out the driver's windshield or nothing. It was all broken glass. I thought the car might explode. Somebody else might hit us. We're on a highway. Nobody hit us. The whole highway stopped. I couldn't get out the doors, and then I opened the sunroof, and I look out, and there's just thousands of cars stopped. We're facing ongoing traffic up in upstate New York, and I got on the roof, jumped off, and had severe whiplash, glass in my arms and in my eyes, little pieces that I was able to throw out. But the ambulance, the police, the firefighters, all the spectators, they were like, we don't know how you guys are alive right now. You just rolled over at a speed that kills most people when that happens. And the fact that you're all right, they took us to the hospital, x-rayed us. By the grace of God, we're good. And right after that, I was having tons of conversations with God, like, man, I know you just saved me so I can build more parks. And then I watched this documentary on YouTube about the Marley family and their influence on Jamaican skateboard scene and culture, and how there was a community on an island there building skate parks for the young people. And I told my friend, we're going to work with these guys. This is less than 24 hours after almost dying. I said, we're going to work with these guys. I don't know how we're going to work with them. A week later, I go back to New York for a business convention, and Bob Marley's son's across from me talking about, I made that documentary, and we're going to work together. And now he's my board member and one of my good friends.
That's the Lord putting it together, man.
God is good, man.
Showing you and opening your eyes. Again, so many opportunities. And when you say that, Jason, again, relying on the Lord, but also he presents these things for us. And sometimes we see them.
Yep.
Don't go through with them.
Yep.
Sometimes we kick the door down and say, let's go do this. You got my back. I trust. But it's all about that faith. And that's something too, just like the skate parks and what we're doing here. It's like, maybe it's not for everybody, but there's always these opportunities, and you have to open up. You have to look. You have to see and take yourself out of it sometimes and just say, you know what? It's for others.
That's it.
It's for others,
That's
right?
it.
That's what I got from what you're saying. And that's what we try to do here when I say on a small scale is share.
That's it, man.
But go right ahead, man.
No, I mean, like I said, I was a pro skater when I was younger, and I would get boxes of shoes from Nike and boards and all this. And like, there's nothing better to me than getting a box now that I know I get to give it all away. It's so much better than when I would get a box and it'd be, because I'd tell my friends, yo, I just got 20 shoes from Nike. And they'd look at me like, I ain't get 20 shoes from Nike. And I'm like, oh yeah, all right, here's a pair, homie. Like, let me not brag on you. Like, let me give you something. But now it's like, we'll get 50 pairs of shoes from Vans, and I get to just go around Atlantic City. Hey, man, you need some shoes, buddy? Here, what size are you? Boom. And it just feels so much better to give than to receive. And I really advocate that for everybody. Like, if you're not giving back and your life's all about career and your life's all about monetary and money because society tells us that's what makes you successful, what actually will, and the Bible says it, man, what really makes you successful is to give back to God's children and to God's people. And like, it's just the feeling you get, man. I can't explain it. So, I was making good money at my full-time job or whatever, but I just knew if I quit this and take a pay cut to build this nonprofit into a global organization, it's just going to feel better. And I don't need extra money to spend just to fill holes in my heart because I'm spending all my time doing something I don't necessarily want to do. And so, it's like, I think that's why sometimes people feel like they need to buy the fanciest car ever, buy the fanciest, this or that. It's just because they're working so hard and they want something to feel. But I recommend people, instead of maybe buying that Lamborghini, go give half of that money away and see how much more fulfilling that feels. That's just me personally, though. That's my opinion.
It's well said. And listen, it's meaning, and it says it to serve and others, and again, I totally get it. And that's what you've been doing since I've known you, and you've been doing it long before that. And, the love that we have for Atlantic City, the love we have for our area, South Jersey. I love when you say South Jersey because AC Mike, air conditioned Mike, whatever. I know I want to share it with South Jersey, Philly, and all that. Listen, man, we ain't perfect. Nobody is. No. But you know what? We got a lot of great things besides our big, beautiful casinos and restaurants and whatnot. We got Skate AC. We got North Beach Mini Golf. We got this, that, or whatever. And we got the beach. People. We got the beach. Right. Go right ahead, man. I always tell everybody there's a movement that I really am working on called AC Heels under Skate AC. It's taken me some time because I got so much work with Skate AC, but I really want to bring together the holistic
wellness community in Atlantic City for the simple fact that this island for so many years now has been focused on vices. But if you look back in the history, like I said, my family been here since the 30s. Dr. Jonathan Pitney, who founded this island, was a holistic wellness doctor. He was a healer. And he got all the railroads and all the money to colonize this place from people that he sold them on the idea that this island will cure you of 1,000 illnesses. And now science is proving that all that stuff he did is true. And what he used to do was during the Industrial Revolution, he would take people from the factories in New York, factories in Philadelphia, he would ground them in the sand and bury them, which is proven scientifically. He would put them in the ocean and all the salt water would heal them scientifically. There's trace minerals in the air, which is proven, which helps heal the lungs, which many of them were suffering from all the chemicals in the factories. And he was healing so many people. People were like, yo, you got to send these guys down to Pitney in Atlantic City.
That's right.
And we've come so far from that original vision that we need to go back. We need to, I really, really want to have a festival. We're working on one. We're planning on the back end on how do we get together the yoga studios, the juice bars, the rehabs, the gyms, the mental health therapists, the calisthenics crews, the runners, the skaters, the surfers. Let's bring it all together and let's tell the whole world AC heals. It's like, don't just come to do AC, come and heal in AC. You know, yeah, that's what it's all about to me, brother.
Anything I could do there, I love the health and wellness.
Let's make it happen.
During Jason, one of the things I'll mention too is I always loved history, right? No matter where I lived, I just loved learning the history.
Me too.
And when I found out about Dr. Jonathan Pitney of Absecon Islands, just what he did, health and wellness, he was standing down there somewhere around States, which was called United States Avenue. But this was before AC. He was coming in horse and buggy and taking care of a few people, saying, you know what, I got to get people here. And I love it because, as you said, health and wellness and when it was incorporated, that's what Atlantic City was about.
Man.
Sometime around Prohibition, Nucky Johnson got in charge. It got a little crazy, open booze, brawls, and gambling. But to your point, vices. And again, you want to drink, do whatever, that's up to you. But I drank a little different than other people, you know. So I gave it up. But my point is, I love what you're saying because that's where it is. Listen, you can do all those other things if that's what you choose to. And this is one of the things I tell on our tram tours. So I bring people into the Visit Atlantic City and Boardwalk Hall.
I know that.
And one of the pictures I point out, I said, this man here, and I go through the story a little bit.
Man. Please shout it out. AC Heals, baby.
AC Heals. I love it.
So man.
I'm all into that.
Come on, we'll talk about it, bro. I need help, man.
Let's do it. I mean, I know we talked the skateboarding and all that.
No, this is a bigger vision to me. This is all communities heal. It doesn't even just have to be Atlantic City. Let's bring the wellness communities together. And, you know, I always say it's like the vices and all that stuff, it's not even working. It's like people always say, how's AC going to redo its image? How do we fix its image? How do we revitalize it? Well, think about it. We've been promoting things that degenerate you physically, cellularly, mentally. What I'm talking about is regeneration. So it's degeneration versus regeneration, healing versus killing. You know what I'm saying? We just have to get on the program because that's what the higher powers want from us, man.
So, man, health and wellness. Listen, that man was sitting out there slapping green heads and all kinds of mosquitoes. I don't know what it was. And he had this vision way back then in the mid-1800s. AC heals, bro. I'm down 100%. Going public with it.
That's
and
it,
telling
bro.
you we're gonna
do it.
And it really, that's what it's about, bro. It's getting people, you know, walk with me, take a walk, or do something like that.
That's it, man. It's just show them what we see in this island. People think outside of here about AC and they think of a little Las Vegas. They think of Sin City. We need to make this God city, and healing and regeneration is a higher frequency, right? Everything is energy and frequencies. And right now this town has been vibrating on a low frequency for too long. We have to raise it up as a community. We must. And the only way it's ever going to succeed is to do that. It's not going to succeed if we just say, all right, well, let's build more casinos. Let's take more people's money, have more people jumping off bridges. Like, you know, shout outs to the casinos. They do a lot of good. I'm not trying to put it all down. And I don't ever want to see all the casinos closed. They're the lifeblood for a lot of people, right? But I think that we're seeing people are gambling on their phones. We're seeing there's casinos opening in New York. It's not the forever industry that it once was envisioned to be when this place was, you know, starting to get into the whole thing. So how do we change the image and how people perceive this place? And to me, it's like, let's bring all the wellness people, all the regenerators together and actually heal people and actually help them. And then when people leave here, they're not going to say, yeah, I went down there, I went to the strip club, lost all my money, threw up, fell asleep on the curb. They're going to say, man, I went down there, I hit a juice bar, went to the spa, saw the sunrise, went skateboarding, went surfing, went for a little run. And I feel recharged to go back to work in New York City. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need, bro.
And I could say, and I know you can too, and I know there's many of those folks out there too, could say personally, it works.
It works. I mean, you quit drinking, I quit drinking. So the same place they used to degenerate us, we were able to use it to regenerate us. Once I stopped, it was like, oh wait, there's all these resources though to heal me here. I'm gonna go meditate on the beach. I'm gonna go swim in the ocean. I'm gonna go skate on the bay. I'm gonna do all this stuff that's already here for me to use.
You know? Love it. Hey, listen, we gotta end this one here, but we're definitely going to continue this.
Let's go.
I'm down again with bringing the health and wellness back.
Let's do it
and heal in AC. Skate AC, bro. I want to say thank you,
man.
I appreciate you.
God bless.
And
bro.
Last word to you, bro. Let them know.
Man, just everybody out there, I just really encourage everybody to, if God put something on your heart, if you got a way that you can give back, even if it's just making some sandwiches for the guy outside of your building, don't mute that voice. Listen to that voice and give back, because it's going to make you feel better than a big check coming in your bank account. I'm not saying that's not going to feel amazing. I'm just saying when you give back, you'd be surprised at what that'll do for you spiritually, mentally, and physically. So God bless all you guys. Check out Skate AC on skateac.org. Just follow the movement, Skate AC. One love. Peace, y'all.
There it is. You heard it. We're out.